The Dark Ages scenery might be my new favorite scenery. I mean, it pretty much passes all the tests that I subconsciously kind of go through when I'm looking at a new scenery. It passes the zoom test. I'm going to put up an image of the scenery on the screen and zoom out a little bit because this just kind of gives you an overall idea of what the scenery looks like when it's zoomed out. And typically when a scenery doesn't look that great zoomed out, it's not going to look as good when you're zoomed in playing the normal game. This scenery is also really fun to look around and explore. There's so much to look at, so much detail, and this is one of those sceneries that I feel like every time I look at it, there's more things that I discover. Like just today, I looked through this once, and then I was looking through it again, and I was up here at this castle, and there were just so many little things that I was picking up on that I never even noticed before. And there's just so many little mysteries and things that you can try to figure out what they're referring to, if they're Easter eggs, if they're not, like what is this here in the wheat. And it's just a really fun scenery to look at overall. It also has a lot of Easter eggs. Now, I know that not everybody is super excited about Easter eggs when a new scenery comes out, but I am. And down here there's a little thing that looks like a hobbit hole. There's a battle drill up at the top, and over on the right side is Excalibur, the sword in the stone. So there's a lot more. We're going to look at more details later, but the scenery also has minimal dead space. Now there's some sceneries I can think of, like the Epic Jungle scenery, where it just has huge empty spaces. This one, on the other hand, it has, little patches of trees here and there with nothing interesting, but that's just kind of natural. And there's really nothing I could complain about as far as dead space goes. Everything is filled in very, very well with things that actually make sense for this scenery. This scenery also has plenty of animations and effects. Obviously, it's got all these smoke and fire effects, but then it's got the E-drag shadow that'll fly over once in a while. And there's also a bolt of lightning that'll strike over here once in a while. There's a wheel turning, there's so many things happening, as well as this sea monster down here. Lots of animations and effects. And this scenery is very well balanced. I think overall, everything fits together well. One side doesn't seem full of things and then the other side is empty. Although you could argue there is a lot going on, I would agree, but I think it's not too noisy. This scenery does have custom tiles. It's nothing crazy, but I do like the darker green tiles. It also has custom boats. There's this little dragon boat for the builder base, and then the master builder's boat looks like it's made out of some kind of cloth and wood or something. I'm a really big fan of this dragon boat. It looks super clean and it fits the scenery perfectly. The scenery also has custom music, and I think this music is on point. It fits perfectly for the Dark Ages scenery, the Dark Ages medieval vibe, and it actually sounds really good. It fits the theme and it sounds good. S tier music in my opinion. The other thing I really like about this scenery is that it's a night setting. I love the sceneries that are set at night because it's as close as we can get to dark mode. This scenery isn't as dark as other sceneries, but still sufficiently dark. It is really easy on the eyes, but you're still able to see everything very well. When I'm rating a scenery, the darkness level always gives it an extra push because I love the dimmer sceneries. I know if you're thinking about buying this scenery, you want to make sure you get a good look at everything. So right down here, we have this sea monster. This is actually one of the only downsides I would say about this scenery is the way the sea monster turns. It's just like 45-degree sharp cuts with no like smooth animation. I think that feels a little bit low effort for this scenery, but I do appreciate the animation of the fins flapping back and forth under the water. That animation looks really smooth. Over here we've got this wrecked boat with an anchor thrown up onto this little island. There's a bridge that leads over onto the land. This lighthouse is really cool because you can actually see the light turning around inside of it. The light is at the back right now, but I think we're about to see it come around to the front. There it is right there. The light actually looks really realistic. Below that is a fish and chip shop with a cauldron next to it. We're gonna see these cauldrons all over the place. Not sure what significance they have. Above that we have a little graveyard. Graveyards seem to be common in Clash of Clans. Down here it looks like those witches did not float. I don't know what this sign is right here. You're gonna have to tell. Oh, actually, you know what? I just realized what it is. I think that's a witch's hat. Before that, I thought it looked like some kind of creature or something. I couldn't figure out what it was. There's a huge bolt of lightning that'll strike once in a while on this bottom right side. I've been sitting here waiting for a long time, and there it is. Perfect timing. A huge crack of lightning. Really cool, but it doesn't come around very often. Down here, I already pointed out, this looks like a Hobbit hole from The Hobbit, but there could be some other Clash creature hiding in there. Right here, something that looks like Stonehenge with some green fire. There's a little water wheel here, a little house, a little windmill. The Barbarian King is carved into this grass over here, and then above that, I pointed out earlier, is Excalibur, this sword in the stone. Here are the bananas over here in a basket. There's one on the ground right next to the stocks. I think that's what they're called, what they would lock people in, their hands and their neck. Over here is a massive castle. This has a ton of details in it. Again, there are those cauldrons right there. There are some houses inside here. I'm not exactly sure what this thing is. Let me know down in a comment if you know. Giant bonfire in the middle, and there's the gate. I did not even realize that opened. This is one of those things that you got to look through the scenery several times to see everything that happens. That gate will actually open and close, which is pretty cool. Up here at the very top is an Edrag's cave. Edrags seem to be the only dragons that are flying around. I would think there would be some normal dragons, but it just seems like Edrags. Over on the top left, we have this little fortress. Looks like there's a catapult here. It looks like a de-glorified flame flinger. There's some archery practice along with some other weapons. Battle drill is over here being constructed along with a log, probably from the log launcher. And then this looks sort of like a trebuchet, but I'm not sure if that would be able to rotate enough to throw those bombs. Up here at the top left, I'm not sure if all these tree stumps are referencing something. They remind me of the Lorax, but it could be some other reference that ties in better with medieval times. There's some other little details over here. There's a copy and paste from, I think it was the Pumpkin Graveyard scenery. This house, this exact house, was in the Pumpkin Graveyard scenery. And then we've got this weird bonfire with a piece of meat hanging. I'm assuming that's maybe for an animal as some kind of trap, but I've never seen anything like that. Then down here we've got a few buildings, and then we've got these crop circles. Now I don't know if this is a specific symbol. The closest I was able to find is the symbol of opposition. This is what the symbol looks like, and apparently it's just when two things are opposite each other or facing each other. I don't know. I don't see how that ties in, but I just did my best to try to figure out what this symbol is. And then we get down here to the boats, the airship. I think the airship is actually slightly recolored. We still haven't gotten a custom one. And the forge looks like it's been darkened a little bit, but I can't quite tell. I really have nothing bad to say about the scenery itself other than the sea monster animation. But the one thing I'm not too happy about is how you're forced to buy the bundle of the scenery and the dragon statue for $9.99. A lot of people won't even care about the dragon statue, but there's no other way to currently buy the scenery without buying the dragon statue. I wish they had separated those, but I guess it is what it is. If you want to wait till next year, hopefully they'll bring the scenery back by itself for $6.99, the normal price for a scenery. I know Supercell experiments a lot, but this one I would say probably don't do again. Everything objective about this scenery I think is pretty much perfect, but obviously it's always going to come down to your subjective opinion. My opinion is that this scenery is S tier. I love everything about this scenery, and you know what else starts with S and is red? The subscribe button. Oh wait, rip the red subscribe button. You should probably just watch this video.